Leave policy. Non-teaching staff at schools and institutions, Part 1. The leave for public servants is governed by the determination and directive on leave of absence in the public service. The annual leave cycle is from the 1st of January to the 31st of December of each year. If an employee is employed after the 1st of January, the leave entitlement is calculated on a pro rata basis. If a non-teaching member of staff has less than 10 years of service, they are entitled to 27 working days a year, while an employee with 10 years or more service receives 30 working days of annual leave a year. At least 22 of these days must be taken during the institution closure period, the school holidays. Non-teaching staff are entitled to 36 working days sick leave in a 3-year cycle. The current cycle commenced on the 1st of January 2019 and ends on the 31st of December of 2021. Should an employee be absent for 3 days or more, a medical certificate must be provided. A medical certificate is also required should the employee be absent on a third occasion in an 8-week period, or if there is a pattern to their absence. Pattern includes being absent on a Monday or a Friday or a payday. The application must be submitted within 5 working days of the first day of absence and can be submitted by a family member, friend, or colleague. Should an employee need to undergo a clinical procedure, the application must be submitted in advance, except in the case of an emergency. Sick leave may also be granted in the case of an employee having to be quarantined or isolated for at least 10 consecutive days. Temporary incapacity may be applied for once the normal sick leave has been exhausted. The employee should be able to provide evidence that they were too ill or injured to perform their work satisfactorily. The employee is requested to give consent to have their medical information and records disclosed to the employer or health risk manager. Applications must be submitted within 5 working days from the first day of absence. Applications for clinical procedures must be submitted in advance, except in the case of an emergency. Should the HOD determine that the employee's incapacity is that of a permanent nature, a maximum of 30 working days leave may be granted. During this time period, the HOD must ascertain as to the feasibility of either alternative employment in the department or accommodating the employee through the adaptation of duties and work circumstances. The process of a termination on account of ill health will proceed if both the HOD and employee are convinced that the employee will never be able to render an effective service. An employee who suffers an injury or contracts a disease as a result of their work will be granted leave for occupational injuries and diseases. The procedures outlined in the Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Act must be followed. This leave does not come off an employee's sick leave.